All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So again, we are going to be talking about arguably the three hottest stocks in the sector. All right, NVOS, TTOO, and MULN. Really quickly, hey, my dad listens to almost all these episodes, and I just want to really quickly say, hey, I love you so much. Today was a hard day, but yeah, that's life, man. I love you. You know that. So let's get into it. And look, again, you can clearly see the big day today, all right? And more than anything, we're about to start talking gap fill, all right? So a lot to talk about NVOS. And truth be told, I think there's more in the gas despite already seeing a 36 burger today, okay? TTOO, listen, I've been really pessimistic the last couple of videos, and I think we're starting to see why. All right, there are not a lot of moving averages left. TTOO must make a bounce ASAP. Otherwise, you hear me say it all the time. Break all five and fly, lose all five or and die, excuse me, and TTOO is close to that, all right? And then look, lastly, Mullen. I have very high expectations and requirements for Mullen before it can take my hard-earned money. All right, I've said it for a long time. I've said it before the splits happened. I mean, there is good that happens when you raise your expectations and you raise your criteria. You know what I mean? So all that said and more will be coming shortly, but real quick, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself, and then occasionally you will see these diagonal trend lines. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please subscribe to the channel, share this video online with your friends, comment good or bad. Look, anything you can do helps me so much with these YouTube algorithms. You know, if you can share it, I swear it does the most because I'm not the best at that. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh man, thank you for that. All right, so let's get into it. And look, NVOS, the one big thing I want to talk about is actually the weekly chart. All right, I mentioned on last week's video, look, I was a little pessimistic here. All right, I'm not even gonna pretend I wasn't. Those are some scary 3 candles, right? That said, man, we never even touched the 8, and I'll get to that on the daily. All right, the weekly, I kept saying, looked great. All right, the weekly broke the 50 right here on this candle. All right, you can see the green number on top. It closed at 22 cents right here. The average 50 this week was actually at 21. You can see it a little bit lower. We broke it this day by a penny. All right, 1 week doesn't matter, but that's not bad. All right, this isn't the best candle. All right, it's not quite a doji by any means, but it's not the best candle. And really, this is how you start the week. All right, what I also love is, look, this 50 average line is for the entire week. All right, we've already destroyed the average 50 on a single day. We still got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday's volume to just even more smash it. All right, so we're already starting the week with some fantastic volume. All right, we are seemingly over this 50, and you know the rules: break the 8, go to the 20, break the 20, go to the 50. This is kind of signaling break the 50, go to the 100. All right, I do think that this 50 line is an important one to have. We are on an 80 RSI on the weekly. All right, just zooming out. All right, we're zooming out for a bit too. It's more than I think I needed to, but we get high. You can see this is an 83, and then it drops drastically. We get high. This is an 86 right here, right? You can see in the box as I click there, it drops drastically. This one kind of holds an 88, all right? But again, like, don't just assume we're gonna fill it. I think that's the important thing, all right? Coming to this line with that 80, again, just things to consider. All right, I'm a big. There are ways to do a slow and steady movement for a wildly fast stock. All right, and for me, focusing on 55 is a good way of doing that instead of just automatically assuming we're going to go to the 100. You get what I'm saying? Especially when I'm seeing that 80 RSI. Okay. That said, man, beautiful things here. And let's talk about the daily. All right. I've said it on every single video. It doesn't matter the tickers. Good things happen over the 8 and the 20. All right. You can see it for a long, bad things happen under it. All right. All we do is go under the 8 and the 20, under the 8 and 20, under the 8 and 20. Now it seems like all we're doing is going over the 8 and 20, over the 8 and 20, over the 2. Okay. The next big thing that you got to love is, again, you hear me say break all 5 and fly. Man, we have broken all 5 and we are flying. All right. These are basic technical analysis movements. And then one more time, what I really love is the strength of this 8. All right. We go up, we come down, we go up, we lose it here, but look who saves us. In a lot of ways, it was the cluster of 3. Don't get me wrong, but the 20 moving average does the job. All right, we're now back over it. We then bounce again. I mean, there's a lot to like right here. And again, we're pulling this 55 line from the weekly chart. All right, most people, all right, including me not that long ago, would see this and naturally assume we're going up here. We would naturally assume it's $1.10. There's very little resistance. There's nothing here. All right, like, let's just be blunt. I think it's important to keep this 55. Again, we're at a 75 RSI. Not quite high enough for me to get too worried, right? You know, I start getting worried in that 80 number exactly. I think there's another push between 75 and the next place. I think that pushes enough to get us to 55, all right? If I had to say what I think the lowest that this thing will come down to tomorrow is 32 cents. I can't imagine that this goes any lower than 32 cents, all right? The last thing I want to say, as big as this movement was up, we would have seen a very drastic move down if we lost the 8. So today was important. I don't believe we would have lost the 20 because, again, good things. These are brother and sister, baby. Best friend, cousin 1, cousin 2, right? Like, yeah, but at this point, it's really hard to believe this goes any lower than 32. And honestly, at this point, I'm just kind of expecting this thing to go to 55, maybe as quickly as tomorrow. Post-market's going down a little bit, but end of the day, that's holding in my book. And you know I really don't even care about post-market that much. But yeah, you're going down a little bit. It's basically nothing in my book. MACD is still diverging. Again, diverging just means the lines are going away from each other. That line's going further away. That's also still a little baby divergence. It's still trying to go away from it, right? Which I'll take. And then, yeah, obviously, if I love the weekly chart volume, you know I love the daily chart volume, right? So average was down here at 53. We almost 3x it, almost at $1.50, right? So NVOS, I for sure see this 36% day. I am actually still expecting, I mean, roughly another 66, right? I'm basically saying I think there's another 20 cents to be made here, right? A little high right there. I don't know if it's going to actually hit 57. You know I'm rounding, obviously, but there's a lot to like here for sure, all right? Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Let me know if you disagree, but there's not much more I need to say about NVOS. It did the job today, all right? Let's talk about TTOO, and this is doing the exact opposite of NVOS, and specifically what it's doing is it's trading under the 8 and the 20. All right, I said it on the last video. I'm going to say it again. This thing did an amazing job over the 8 and the 20. It rode those two lines from basically 8 cents all the way up to 64 cents. That's an 8x movement. Ridiculous, all right? Was it justified? I'm not going to lie to you. I don't want to argue with that, all right? Some people are going to say yes. Some people are going to say it's only at the beginning, blah, blah, blah. Look, I'm not here to pretend I know when the FDA approval is going to come. I'm also here being a lot more skeptical that the FDA approval will come. I think a lot of people are just, and dude, I'm not trying to hate. I'm not trying to spread fear. You know that, right? But the FDA is a important government agency that's responsible for the lives of us, all right? And I say us as like I live in the U.S., right? But it's their job to say no more often than they say yes, because if people die, there's lawsuits, there's big things, right? And more often than not, I genuinely believe things get rejected by the FDA because of a horrible sentence. And it basically is along the lines of there isn't enough statistically important facts or whatever the phrasing is, right? But you not only need to prove your thing is good, you need to prove it's statistically good enough to make an impact that's worth the government agency saying, you know what? I'll stay, it's okay. All right. And all I'm saying is there's a lot of weight. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. All right. I'm just saying, remember, a lot of people, and you know what? And I'm going to give you mine. This is my honest personal one. It's Veru. Veru right now is at $1.05. I remember I made nasty money on this. And I'll be honest with you. I thought this was going to be the prostate cancer company of the world. All right. They had a real beautiful thing going. They had a number of phase 1 and phase 2 things going. They had the smartest, like, dude, I was drinking the Kool-Aid. All right. And I'm telling you from experience that Kool-Aid ends up being there's an inappropriate joke I could make there, all right? But just keep a skeptical mind. What I know factually is this, all right? We fell below. First off, we never got to the 200, all right? The 200 is the last line for a reason. The 200 is actually a line we haven't even touched since right here, since 2001. Let me click right there just to validate that. What was your high of the day? 78, and the 200 was at 79.50. Since right here in 2001, you can see it. We've literally, and I'll zoom in just a little bit more. Look at the gap between that purple line and like even right here, as close as we never even touched that line. All right, this is the last line for a reason, and believe me, all right, break the 8, go to the 20, break the 20, go to the 50, break the 50, go to the 100. We did it like clockwork. Break the 100, go to the 200 was hard. And then again, break all 5 and fly is another difficulty all on its own, right? But where we're essentially at is all eyes are on 23. All right. I said a few videos ago, I didn't think 24 was going to hold. I still believe that. I don't think 24 is going to hold. There was a moment where these two lines, the 50 and the 100, they were close enough to where I thought it would be like NVOS, where like, look, that tight stack of 3, I had a lot of confidence 13 was going to hold. I did. You can very confident in that. These are now two very separate and individual lines. We can lose the 50 first and then very quickly come to the 100, all right? I can see this. You can see in the box as I click it, the 100 right now is at 22 cents. There's actually a chance that this comes down to 22 cents, which is actually another near 20% loss. You can see what 4 cents did today. No one wants to lose 15% on a day, right? So it makes sense to me that we're going to come down to 23. We might even come exactly to 22. Where I really get scared is this 20-cent line. If we lose the 100 and we lose basically half this candle, which is what I'm calling 20 cents, it's actually going to be a really fast fall to 14. And going from 20 to 14 is another 30% loss on top of going from this 26 to 20, right? So there is a wild amount of pressure on this 100 MA, all right? And I'm telling you, yes, for sure, if some news comes out and yeah, if the right person gives the thumbs up, yeah, there's gonna be some silly things that happen. I'm even gonna play a little hypothetical with you and I'm gonna show a ticker. I honestly don't know how it looks now. So this might, dude, look at SON. All right, do me a favor of looking at SONN. I'm pretty sure it was on this day, on the 16th of August. There's a chance it was on this day, the 4th of August. SONN got FDA approval on something. All right, you know I don't know anything about any of the tickers I cover. I barely do. I kind of know a lot about these because I've been covering them so much. SONN got FDA approval and it's done this since. Obviously there was a 1 to 22 reverse split, but clearly that was recent. That had very little impact on it, at least going from where it was in August to where it is in September pre-split, right? So I'm telling you, just these lines help me keep things impartial. As of now, I have no monster expectations until the 200 breaks. Nothing monstrous will happen here until that 200 breaks. Now, don't get me wrong, a move from the 26 that we're at all the way up to the 62 that we're at, hey, that's a beautiful percentage. But anyone that's talking $1, $2, $3, this gap fill right here, anything like that, no. I don't believe it just yet, all right? So just keep things in perspective, all right? TTOO is in an interesting place, and I say interesting a little bit pessimistically still, all right? You know, I think the 20 MA is the equivalent of the 100 MA on the other one, right? It looked like we've gone up. It looks like we're coming back down. Dude, we better bounce on that. Look at that. This one's basically calling 21. On the other, on the daily, it was calling 22 right here, right? Like there's a lot of pressure on 21 and 22. And I think it goes back to me saying, I don't think 24 is holding. I've been saying that for a couple days now, actually, or at least a couple candles, whatever. And then one more time, look at it. It's even more. If we lose this, it will red, 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 green, 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 red, 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 red. There's not a lot happening in this channel except for speed up and speed down. All right. So, you know, I'm not here to spread fear. I'm not, like, that's not my game, right? I'm just trying to keep an impartial view. Let me know your thoughts and opinions as always. All right. Lastly, we will be taking a look at MULN. Listen, MULN is doing what MULN knows how to do. It falls away from the 8, it comes up to the 8. It falls away from the 8, it comes up to the 8. I'm expecting it to fall from the 8 again, away from the 8, up to the 8, away from the 8. Ooh, gets over, goes back to doing what it does normally, right? MULN for now is trading well below the 8 and the 20. Happened well before the first split, happened well between the first split and the second split, still happening now, all right? I really, really, really would not touch this stock until it at least broke this 8 moving average, which is 74. And I would probably consider a move all the way up to the 20. Because you know what? Let's be honest. Sorry, I said 74. That was dyslexic right there. 47 down here, all the way up to 60 something isn't a bad trade. And I'm actually going to set an alert. What's the high right here? 49. I'll set the alert at 49. I think that's a better one. 49 all the way up to the 20 is not a bad move. Do I genuinely believe this is going to break the 20? Hell no, I don't, and I'm sorry to be rude. However, again, until the stock makes me believe something else, dude, I still don't believe we're breaking the 8, let alone the 20, because all we do is get to it and fail, get to it and fail, get to it, try, fail, 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 right? The stock technical analysis is not like roulette. The little ball in roulette does not remember where it landed on the last spin and is completely random. I genuinely believe technical analysis because these stocks have a memory. MULN knows what MULN knows. And until MULN can prove to me it's learned how to do something else, it's learned how to trade over the 8 and the 20, let's just real quick go back to NVOS. This is showing me that it's learning how to go over the 8 and the 20. It wasn't that long ago that I didn't even care. I didn't even know about this stock because all I was doing was trading under the 8 and the 20. There were moments where it was showing me it was trying to, right? I was covering it during these. I made some money on some of these. I lost some money on some of these, right? Like, make me believe things are changing and then do it, all right? That is what we're waiting for on MULN. Other than that, dude, under the 8 or under the 20 is all I can expect, all right? Hey, let me know your thoughts and opinions. You know I appreciate your time. Thank you, thank you.